The initial decision when selecting the greatest smartphone can be the most difficult. iPhone versus Android. To assist you in making the decision that will best suit your needs, we've examined their differences. When choosing your first smartphone, your first choice is which model to get. The two main alternatives are iPhone and Android. Although both have a ton of fantastic features, iPhones and Android phones are significantly dissimilar. Android has more hardware options. The hardware is where the distinctions between the iPhone and Android are first made. Apple has incredibly tight control over how the software and hardware interact because it is the only company that manufactures iPhones. Google, on the other hand, provides Android software to several mobile device manufacturers, such as Samsung, HTC, and Motorola. As a result, Android phones differ in terms of their size, weight, functionality, and quality. The quality of high-end Android phones is comparable to that of the iPhone, but you might not need much more than a basic Android phone. You must choose a model if you're purchasing an iPhone. You must pick a brand and a model because numerous manufacturers produce Android devices. While some people might like the selection provided by Android, others value Apple's superior quality and greater simplicity. Both operating systems have advantages. While iPhones use Apple iOS, Android phones use Google's Android operating system. They function similarly in most cases. Your most used apps, such as games, utilities, the phone app, the camera app, and the messaging app, will be displayed on your home screen. They also include touchscreens, and the hardware may have accelerometers or gyroscopes to perform additional tasks. About every fall, Apple introduces a new version of iOS, and updates continue to be released all year long. Updates were less frequent and regular in the early days of Android. However, Android's upgrade schedule has shifted more recently towards becoming yearly. A slightly modified version of the operating system is used by some Android device manufacturers, including Samsung. Some Android manufacturers take a while or never to upgrade their devices to the most recent version of the Android OS. Apple's support for older phones can be better than Android's, especially since the platform is available to other manufacturers, even though older phones will ultimately lose support for the most recent OS. Android has more options for apps. Although there are fewer programs available in the Apple App Store than on Google Play, this isn't the most important difference. While Google's requirements for Androids are less stringent than Apple's, Apple is picky about the apps it permits. Although Apple's App Store has fewer options than Google's because of tighter regulation, you're less likely to download viruses as a result. Apple is confident that everything sold in its centralized shop is compatible with the range of devices, which is another advantage. You cannot be sure that an app you want will operate with your specific phone because there are numerous Android phone makers, unless screening in the Google Play Store. Despite this, some users may find value in the wider variety and option to obtain Android apps from sources other than the official Google Play Store. Price. Android phones have a wider range. iPhones are typically more expensive. Pricing of the iPhone reflects the premium position that Apple gave it. For less than $500, you won't be able to find a new one. The cost of Android-compatible phones, on the other hand, varies greatly, from around 100 to 20 times that amount. Although it is possible to purchase an Android phone for less money, quality can vary. If you want a new Samsung Galaxy or Google Pixel, it might cost as much as or even more than an iPhone. There isn't much of a quality difference between Android and iPhone at this end of the spectrum. However, if you don't require a sophisticated camera or other capabilities, a less expensive Android can work for you. However, you may easily get a higher-end phone by paying for it in monthly payments rather than all at once thanks to the vast range of payment plans offered by stores. Apple, Google, and other companies, price is less of a concern than these choices. Apple maintains tight security. iPhone is more secure than Android if you are concerned about the security of your smartphone. There are many causes, however, the following are some of the most significant ones. Apple's apps support end-to-end encryption. End-to-end refers to the fact that a text message, for instance, is scrambled between the transmitting device and the recipient throughout its entire path. In general, Android encrypts data in transit, which implies that it's safe while it's being transported, but may be exposed at stops such as Google servers. Apple is in charge of downloads. Downloading malware, software intended to steal data or alter how a device functions, is one of the most popular ways to compromise digital security. The only way to get iPhone apps is from Apple's App Store, where the company attempts to keep spyware from showing up. In this approach, Android's flexibility and openness can work against it. But it's crucial to remember that while iPhone is less likely to be targeted than Android-based phones, it isn't completely safe from security risks. Google Assistant outperforms Siri as an intelligent assistant. AI and voice interfaces will be the next frontier in smartphones' usefulness. Here, Android is clearly in the lead. The most well-known intelligent assistant for Android, Google Assistant, is highly potent. It makes life simpler by utilizing all Google knows about you and your entire world. For instance, Assistant can alert you to depart early if your Google Calendar knows you have a meeting at 5:30 and that the traffic is horrible. Apple's response to Google Assistant in terms of AI is Siri. With each new iOS release, it gets better. However, it's still restricted to simple tasks and lacks Google Assistant's sophisticated intelligence. While Android users cannot access Siri without an Apple device, iPhone users who dislike Siri can also utilize Google Assistant. Apple's ecosystem is closed but strong. In addition to their smartphone, many people also utilize tablets, computers, and wearable technology. Apple provides a more seamless experience for them. Apple provides features that Android may not because it produces PCs, tablets, watches, and the iPhone. For instance, you can control your Apple TV with the help of your iPhone. Alternatively, you can also use an Apple Watch to unlock your iPhone or MacBook without sending an email. AirDrop enables instant file and link transfers between an iPhone, Mac, and iPad. A YouTube video can be started on Apple TV and continued on an iPhone using other continuity capabilities. You can utilize an iPad as a second display or share the screen of your Mac with an Apple TV via AirPlay. All Android devices are compatible with Google services, including Gmail, Maps, Google Now, and others. However, Android lacks a coherent cross-device experience unless your watch, tablet, phone, and PC are all produced by the same company. And there aren't many manufacturers like Samsung that produce items in all their categories. Use Android for do-it-yourself fixes. Apple prioritizes style and functionality over all else with the iPhone. This is a key factor in why customers are unable to update the iPhone's storage or replace the batteries. On the other hand, Android manufacturers frequently permit consumers to upgrade the phone's storage and battery. Android is a little more complicated and less elegant as a trade-off, but that might be preferable to running out of memory or avoiding having to buy an expensive battery replacement. Final conclusion. People with various demands can find solutions on both iPhone and Android. Purchasing an iPhone is a simple decision if you already own Apple goods like the Mac, iPad, or Apple TV. Choose an Android if flexibility or apps are vital. For some people, certain categories are more important. While some people care more about battery life for mobile gaming, others will place some more importance on hardware choice. For some users, both systems provide excellent options. You must decide which features are most important to you before selecting the phone that best suits your requirements. How many people use iPhones compared to Androids? Together, Android and iPhones users hold 99% of all active smartphones, yet due to the significant price difference, there are more Android users than iPhone users. Global figures indicate that around 1 billion people use an iPhone and 2 billion use an Android as of the year 2020. What features of Android can I access that an iPhone does not offer? You can set up a guest mode account to share your Android phone with other people. For example, something the security of the iPhone won't let you do. Additionally, you may add storage with an SD card, work with a split screen, use widgets to access information from apps without running them, and use an Android file manager to move files directly from your computer to your phone. The only way to transfer files on an iPhone is this manner. What functions of an iPhone are not available on an Android device? With an iPhone, you can utilize the Quick Start feature to transfer data to your new device while holding your old phone near to a new one. You may send and receive money using the built-in iPhone Messages app as well. FaceTime, which allows you to do video communication with other iPhone users without downloading external software, is another standout feature. Have you made up your mind to decide on what to buy? Share your thoughts and comment them down below.